So I've already drawn out the raven onto this 12 by 12 inch canvas panel and given it a coat of acrylic medium and raw umber, just to give it a coloured ground to paint onto, as it's so much nicer than painting onto white canvas. So now with some Payne's grey I'm just going to knock in some of these outlines and areas so I don't lose them when I paint over them. Now the palette I'm using is titanium white, Payne's grey, burnt sienna, yellow ochre and raw umber. So keeping it a very simple palette. Simple is best. Always work with that sort of thing in mind when you're painting. Simple is best. Okay, now I'm doing this in 3 different styles. I'm doing this as an abstract painting, impressionist painting and detailed painting. So there's 3 different styles going on here, and the main detail is going to be in the face of the bird, because that's where I want the eye to concentrate on. That's where I want the center of attention. It's going to be the bird, so it's going to have a very light background behind it, make it stand out. So I've now gone over to my bristle, 1-inch bristle flat brush to put in this background behind the bird. It's a black bird, so I want it to stand out against this background. So it's going to be light, very light around the head, and where it gets to the body it's going to get darker and darker, because I want the body to sort of blend into that background. The lower down the picture it comes, then that's going to be really blending into the background. Okay, so that's got some colours in there. I'm just using some burnt sienna now just to put in a little bit of the branch colour, a little bit of raw umber added into that as well, like that. Now clean the brush and get some nice light there with a little bit of raw umber, and I can put the light colour in behind the bird to make that really stand out now, like that. Okay, I'll just put a few other colours in here and just give it a little spray of water there, so I can use this silicone tool to really start messing this background up and making it really nice and abstract and messy. I always like my first stages of a painting to be very messy. So now with a cheap bristle brush I'm just using here just to put in the basic dark colour of the bird, which is Payne's grey, just pure Payne's grey. That's all I'm using here. And then the heaviness of the brush, how hard I apply it. The harder I dig in, the darker the paint is going to be, and the lighter I use the brush, the lighter the paint will be. So it's giving me some basic sort of colouring, and then using the silicone tool once again I can mess that up, mess the edges up, and scratch my name into the bottom left hand corner while it's wet, like I usually do. Okay, I'll get a little bit of a lighter grey now, a bit of Payne's grey and white, just to put in some of the highlight areas where the light's going to be catching this bird. On the wing there, on its little throat, top of its head, and I'll just warm that up a little bit because I want a reflective colour in there off the branch, similar colour to the branch there, just to show that the light is being reflected onto the bird. So I'm not painting every individual feather of these wings, I'm just painting an impression of them. Nice and loose and messy, and as I work through these layers it will build up. Just put the feet in as well, because I'm working in layers. This is the first messy layer. I'll just put some more highlight in there, and then I'll just dry that off quickly, give it a little spray of water once again, and then I'm going to do the background once again. This time it's not going to be quite as messy, because when I use the silicone tool later on onto this while it's wet, it won't produce as much of a mess. It'll be a little bit more refined, which is fine. I don't mind that. The first layer has to be very messy though. Okay, back to the 1-inch brush again. Now, all the tools and materials that I use, I've left links in the description below if you're interested in them. And if you do use those links, then you'll be helping to support me and my channel, and helps me to keep bringing you these videos. Okay, so I'm just basically getting it darker as I go towards the bottom edge of that background. Like that. Put the bird back in again with the darks. Very, very quickly. You must learn to paint quickly when you're painting with acrylics. You think you'll find it an awful lot easier. Because people do say, how do you keep it wet? Well, you just paint quickly. And then I'll move that paint around once again. Now, this time it's getting more of a, rather than messy, it's becoming a little bit more abstract, which is what I want. I'll still have some messiness in there. And if the paint isn't moving, if it's drying slightly, just give it a little spray of water, and it sort of reactivates it and makes it a lot easier then to move that paint. Okay, just putting a few little simple marks in that branch there, just to make it look like it's got cracks in it and it's got rough bark. And I'll just keep messing with that until I've got that right. That background, I think that's about all I need to do to that background, really. The rest is going to be the branch and the bird. Now I'll dry that off completely with a hairdryer again. Quick spray of water, a mist spray I should say. I'm not letting the water run down the painting, it's only to make it damp. And that allows the paint to stay wet for much longer. So that's one of the big secrets of how to keep your acrylic paints wet. Keep a spray bottle handy. I mean, I'm painting in very, very high heat here. It's about, well, they said it's going to get to 37 degrees today. And I can tell you it's very warm in my studio. It's a heat wave we've got. But I'm still allowing, it still allows the paint to be blended. If you learn to paint quickly and use the spray bottle. If you use it too much, then it'll paint, the water will run down and the paint will run down as well. So you want to hold it a little bit further away from the board, from the canvas, when you spray. And it must be a very, very light mist spray. Not a squirty sort of a spray, but a mist spray. In order for it to work correctly. And I got my spray bottle just from a garden centre, just for spraying plants. Mist spraying plants, that's all you need. Little plastic one. It was about £5, I think that was all. But one of the most used tools that I have in my acrylic painting. Okay, I'm just using this old nylon brush now. You've seen me probably using this in other of my paintings where it's a worn brush. Doesn't come to a point anymore, and I like to splay the bristles of it when I pick the paint up. So I bend the bristles onto the palette, really press the heel of the brush down into it like that, and then it will paint in these little fibers, which makes me able to do lots of detailed lines in one go. Instead of having to have a really, really fine brush and doing every tiny little mark. You don't need to do that. Especially with this style of painting, which is Impressionism. But in the face, it's going to be a little bit more detailed. Not realist, but just detailed. Because that's where the eye is going to concentrate, is where the detail is. And also where the hard edges are. So you'll notice the lower edges of the bird are soft edged. See, I'm not going to do this hard edge all the way down. I'm going to let it be soft. You can do that by blending with your finger or smudging the paint with the brush. Dry brush technique, there's all sorts of ways you can use it. And you can blend. So that's blending now into that dark area in the bottom corner there. So a few little lighter shades with this brush. And I'm going to have some lighter bits on the wing tip there, and perhaps a couple of impressionistic lines to make it look like it's got wing feathers without me actually painting them. And then I'm going to make that a little bit warmer to show the light reflecting off the branch onto its chest, just to give a little bit of variety to the bird, so it's not all grey and black. It has variety, because even black creatures will have different colours in that coat. It won't all be black and white. And that's the ability of an artist, really, is to look closely at a subject to discover what colours there are. And one of the ways is to always have a little piece of white card and place it next to whatever you're trying to paint, and you'll see all the different varieties of colour. If I had a black Labrador dog or something, say a photo I was using, place that next to part of the body, place the white card next to it, and you will see the different colours start to show up in the animal. So that's one way. I don't need to use a white card anymore, but it's a very useful technique to use. And once you do, you start to see colours everywhere and in everything. Just because you have a red ball doesn't mean to say it's red all over. It isn't. It'll have lighter areas where the light's hitting it. It'll have other reflected areas where the light's bouncing from the ground up into the ball, which is what I'm doing here with the bird, with the that warm little bit on its chest there. I'll put some medium tone greys here on the feet just to give it 3 dimensions. I'm not trying to do them detailed or realistic. And I'll just put a little shadow area under those feet there just to make sure it makes it look like it's resting on the branch. Okay, I'll just put a little bit of warmth into this branch here as well while I'm down in this area. I get some darker browns in there, just with burnt sienna. Perhaps a little bit of raw umber in there as well. Like that. It starts to look like a nice, messy, craggy little branch it's standing on. In an impressionistic manner. Okay, getting back to the lights now. A few little highlights where they're required in the face, on the head, in the beak, the eye, and perhaps a little bit on that wingtip. If it's too bright, though, this little highlight, if it's too bright, I can always tap it with my finger and it'll make it go a little bit darker. Like that. Or even smudge it. Fingers are great tools to use when you're painting. I encourage you to use them. Okay, I'm just using this dagger brush here just to put in some very, very loose kind of shapes where the light's just catching parts of the bird. Okay, now I just need to correct this beak and make sure it's absolutely perfect, because the beak is very distinctive on all birds. They all have their own different shaped beaks, and so you have to be very accurate when doing those. A few little highlighted areas around the eye and on the front of the nose where the nostril is there. These little spiky bits of hair that are there. Like that. And a little bit of the inside the mouth. It's probably a bit too light. I'll darken that later. Like that. That's a little bit better. Okay, and I'll put the darks back into the eye again, because the darks will go dull as they dry, and you need to go over them again to make them dark. A few little lighter grey highlights now on these feet. And then what I'll do is I'll get some pure white and go over the top just to put some really bright highlights on. So There's a couple of little dots of light. Not a lot, just a couple of dots here and there, and I'll do the same in the branch here as well. Now that's too bright, so tap it with my finger and it goes dull. That's the way to do it. Okay, just keep putting this ruffled area of fur there, of feathers rather. Like that. And I can use this comb brush to do similar sort of work. I like to use this brush on its edge rather than the normal way. Produces some nice, interesting effects. Oh, it might be a bit too bright that, so I'll just darken it up a little bit. Like that. Now I'll go over the top of that with a glaze of Payne's Grey just to darken some of those areas before I finish. So I'm going to put some fine lines in here on this branch just to make it look like there's cracks in there. And a little bit of burnt sienna in the eye just to give it a bit of colour. And put those highlights back in the face once again, bringing them up to the contrast that I require. And putting little bits of detail in here and there. And I'll go over the entire painting like this until I'm sort of happy with it, with those areas. Now I'm going to use some light colour now on those dark cracks I've put in the wood and put in some highlights on the lower edge of those dark lines, and it suddenly turns into realistic looking cracks. And this is how you do wood or stone or all sorts of things like that. It's very, very useful technique. So we'll go over the painting doing all this, little bits of detail here and there, and then once I'm happy with that, I can call the painting finished. Hopefully I will see you on my next painting video. So until then, have a lovely day and happy painting!